Hi, my name is Dr. Nardia Adaman, and I'm one of the physicians at COPC Worthington Pediatrics, and I am here with...
My name is Thomas. I'm 18 and I am a senior in high school.
Yes, and so Thomas and I are here to talk about this amazing book. It's called A Long Walk to Water, and it's actually based on a true story, and it is told by Linda Sue Park. She is the author of the true story. All right, and then this is an amazing book. I don't know what you thought about it, Thomas, but I thought this was such an amazing book. Can you give us a summary of the book? Like, what's the book about?
So in the book there are two main characters, Naya and Salva. Right, they're both from South Sudan.
Yep.
Different tribes, kind of like rival tribes. But Salva was born in 1985.
Yep.
He grew up in 1985,
Yeah.
and his family was going through the war and stuff like that while he was in school. He ended up going to America and then coming back to Sudan.
Yep.
Right? And then Naya, right, she was from Sudan as well.
Yep.
She wasn't really in school because she was the person who brought water to her family. But in the end, essentially, Salva, after he came to America, he came back to South Sudan and he arranged a well for
Like a
Naya,
pump, like a water pump.
Yeah, a water pump for Naya's tribe.
Yes,
So-
yes. Even though they were rival
Yeah,
tribes,
they're
right?
rival tribes.
Yeah. So it's so interesting because this author takes both of these characters are both 11, and she actually tells their stories side by side. And so you're kind of watching the development of these two young kids over time, and then at the end they kind of meet up in this just amazing, mind-blowing way. So tell me, what's your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part of the book was near the end,
Okay.
where he was talking about perseverance and not giving up, because he did go through a lot of harsh and traumatic things. But in the end, he really did give up. He didn't give up.
Yes.
He really persevered, and he made something great of his own situation.
Right. Can you imagine at 11 going through some of the things that he had to go through? And, we can talk about some of those things because I thought they were very amazing. So the first scene opens up with him in a school setting, and he's in the school daydreaming, and all of a sudden there's like gunfire and just lots of noise outside and bombs, and they realize that there's fighting, and then the teacher tells all the kids to run into the bush. And so they all go into the bush, and then they start just walking away from the village because that's where the fighting is. And he goes on this very long journey without his parents, without anybody that he knew at the age of 11. And he's walking with these strangers, okay? And then he just happens to meet, some good people who were able to provide for him and stuff. And then he meets his best friend, Marielle. And eventually he meets his uncle too, Uncle Juir, right? And so what happens to Marielle and Uncle Juir? Do you remember?
So they both actually they had passed away.
Yeah, they both
sadly.
died. Yeah. It's like, how you're already away from your family, and then your best friend that you meet as you're walking to a safe place, gets eaten by a lion. He got eaten by a lion. And then his uncle, who was his protector, I think they got to a desert, and then a warring tribe came over and tied him up and then just shot him right in front of the child. And it was just so amazing that despite all of these hardships and depressive things that happened to him, he was still able to overcome. He went to some refugee camps, right? How many refugee camps do you think
I'm
he
pretty
went
sure
to?
it was 3, because he went from Sudan to Ethiopia to Kenya.
Yep. And then afterwards, he met like a health aide in Kenya, right? And then they decided to take some of these refugees to America. And so he came to the United States, got educated, and found out that his dad was in a hospital, right?
Yeah.
Back in Sudan. So he arranges to go and meet his dad in Sudan, and then comes up, because he had to leave because he was in this program that was based in Rochester, New York. And so because he had to leave, he came up with this great plan of how he would return, and that was going to be his project of bringing back clean water to Sudan using these pumps. And so he was raising money and all this stuff to get these pumps installed. And he did it in his own tribe in Sudan, but he also did it in neighboring tribes that they were warring with, right? Yeah. What was the most difficult part of the book for you to read?
It was kind of hard when so when they left, they were walking, and they got to a barn. It was a mother and children. He was one of the only children that was there. It's only him and another infant. and they went to sleep and they rested in the barn, and he woke up and he was by himself.
Yeah, they all left him.
Yeah, they
like,
all
abandoned him.
yeah,
Like he's 11.
Yeah, he left him and he woke up and he was kind of scared. But
Yeah.
He didn't really know what to do. And if you wanted to make a movie out of it, that would have been a good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And that could have been a good way to end the movie. Well, not really good, but that would have been a way to end the movie. You know what I'm saying? His story could have ended there. He
It could have, yeah.
Panicked. He could have done a lot of things, but
Yes.
he didn't stop.
But he kept
pursuing.
going, exactly.
And actually, a lady actually came and helped him. I'm pretty sure.
Right, and she was from the same tribe
Yep.
too, right? Yeah. And then Naya or Nia's story is somewhat different. So hers wasn't based on these conflicts in her life. Her main role as a female in her family was to go and fetch the water. And so she would walk for days, like a full day, to and from this water hole. I think it was a pond.
Yes.
And, you know, then her sister got sick, right? And then they had to walk like thousands of miles to get her to a clinic. And then when she finally gets to the clinic, they treat her, she's better. But then the nurse says that it's from the water, right? And so they tell the mom that she now has to boil the water, and she's like, well, how am I going to boil the water? It's all going to evaporate. We won't have enough for the rest of the family. So it wasn't very practical for her to do that. So tying, you know, the need of Naya or Nia's tribe for water, for clean water, to Salva's need to go back to be with his family and to make a difference in his community was what kind of caused both of their lives to intersect at the end of the book, which was just, it was unexpected for me, but it was really amazing and rewarding. And so it's just a great book of how the spirit of hope and perseverance can get you through you know, life's difficulties. And even a child as young as 11 that has gone through so much found the strength within him to overcome and to just continue striving until he came up with this water project that made such a huge difference in not only the lives of his people, but in the lives of neighboring tribes as well. And there is this great excerpt that I am going to have Thomas read as we close. Okay, you can read that.
Yep. All right.
So this is from Salva, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I overcame all the difficult situations of my past because of the hope and the perseverance that I had. I would not have made it without these two things. To young people, I would like to say, stay calm when things are hard or not going right with you. You will get through it when you persevere instead of quitting. Quitting leads to much less happiness in life than perseverance and hope.
Very good. Yes, so perseverance and hope are those two things that he held on to and that were able to get him through those tough moments and get him to where he is today. And he still has this water project still ongoing. He's still raising funds for it too. He has a whole Wikipedia page that you can check out. But this book is wonderful, lots of great lessons in it. And it's funny because there's a part where they get to it's after they've crossed the Nile, they get to this fisherman village, and he talks about like cassava and yam and all sugar cane, all these things that are growing there, and that just reminded me of my home country, Jamaica. And you know, my mouth was watering when I was hearing that. And then he was also talking about the mangoes that his dad would go and get for him, and I was like, man, I wish I had a mango right now. It was so good. But please check out that book. It is available on our Great Beginnings Book Club website, along with many other great books, and you can use the link below. Well, thanks, Thomas. Really enjoyed talking to you about this book. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and that you recommend it to your friends.
I would.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.